Hello, my people. This is take three because it seems today I cannot speak. Um, so this is going to be what if Izuku had a body augmentation quirk. And so what his quirk is gonna do is the more he works out, the denser his muscles get, and the better his body condition gets. So basically, he can have limitless power if he works out intensely every single day. Like depending on how hard he works out throughout his life, that's how much power he's gonna get. And so when he's born, he's just a perfectly normal child, right? And he grows up perfectly normal until the age of 4, which this is gonna be a quirk, right? And so when the age of 4 hits, Bakugo gets his quirk, and everybody around him is getting hit their quirks, right? And Deku can't see anything happening for real. And the same scene happens. He goes to the doctor, and when he gets to the doctor, right? And Inko's like, so what's my son's quirk? And the doctor's like, well, it seems to be a body enhancement quirk. And she's like, oh, really? What does it entail? Because Inko and Hasashi they don't have body like body related quirks. Hasashi can breathe fire, and Inko has telekinesis. But he's like, well, it seems that the more Izuku works out, the stronger he gets. And she's like, well, that just seems like a normal person, because the more you work out, the stronger you get. But he's like, no, you don't get it. Like, it's to a degree where he can have endless physical strength and speed. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, let's just say this. He's 4 right now, so if he works out until he's 14, he'll have worked out for 10 years, and the the power he gets by his 14th birthday will more than reflect that. Like he would have so much power that he would be able to like punch a whole building down with like a light tap. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much All Might level. He's not gonna be prime All Might. He's gonna be like when he's 14, he's gonna be like current day All Might with the injury. Like 70% of prime All Might, because like how do I put this? Like he doesn't take his training that seriously. He has enough power to where he thinks, okay, this is good, I'm comfortable. This is good enough for me to become a hero, because he's like uber powerful. And basically, the doctor is just like, if you work out like to a good enough degree, you will be like very very powerful. Like you will be able to have the power of like maybe even a million men. And Izuku hearing this is really really excited because he's like, yay, I have an amazing power. And so when he goes back to school, he tells Katsuki all about his power, and Katsuki's like, well, that's still nothing compared to mine. And this is when Izuku starts not to fuck with Katsuki. Because he's like, bruh, you're not the only one who has an amazing power. Like, why can't you just be happy for me like I'm happy for you? Like, that's what friends do. And so Izuku really doesn't fuck with Katsuki. And he doesn't fuck with anybody else ever as well, because they all think his quirk is useless because it doesn't show immediate results like Katsuki's being able to blow up shit. And so my guy just starts to train like in secret. Nobody fucking knows that he's training except for Katsuki, which Katsuki like hears it from his mom and shit, right? His mom's like, why can't you work out like Izuku? He's getting gains and he's developing his quirk. Why don't you do that? And so Bakugo's like, wow, so the nerd's getting stronger while I'm doing nothing. And he's like, I can't let anybody be as strong as me. And so he starts like working out and practicing his quirk, developing it, right? But nothing close to Izuku. So Izuku just works out every single day. He has no friends, and he likes that, because he's like an introverted person. He likes to be by himself. Like he's a cool dude to people who are close to him, like me. Like I don't like people, but if you get super close to me, right? If you're like one of my close friends, Like I'm super outgoing towards you, but to anybody else, I'll just seem like I'm like really shut into myself, you know. But anyways, enough about me. So throughout his whole school career until the end of middle school, right? He's just like super introverted, always just draws on his notebooks and stuff, and basically Mitsuki is always telling Bakugo how Izuku is able to like crush boulders with his bare hands and stuff like that, and Katsuki has never seen this happen in real life, so he's kind of skeptical, but he's like, my mom's telling me this, so what's the point of not believing in her? Like, why would she lie to me, you know? And so he's never like really messed with Izuku. Then this one, I'm gonna make it so Bakugo has like a giant ego, still the same as in canon, you know, but he doesn't bully people, you know, because in this one, let's just say his mom peeps like what's going on in his head, and she doesn't turn a blind eye to him bullying people, right? And so like at the age of 6, he's still doing this bullying shit, right? And his mom just like no, just snips it right in the bud. And she's like, don't ever do that shit again, because my son is not gonna be a fucking asshole, you know. And so like Izuku still doesn't like Bakugo because Bakugo's head is still way too big for his boots, you know. But Izuku just the introvert, and Bakugo always sees that Izuku always tries his best in everything he does, and so Bakugo doesn't. He still has that giant ego, like I said, but he doesn't have the entitlement of I am king of everything, you know. So he does try harder in school, and he's like really smart. And Bakugo's really smart, but Izuku's way smarter than him, you know. Izuku's like above Momo in smartness, you know. I'm not gonna say above Nezu because that's something a lot of YouTubers do, which a lot of what ifers do, which I'm like, smarter than Nezu, bruh. Come on, like he can be smart, but like Nezu has a quirk which is super intelligence. Like, come on, bruh. In some situations it works though, but you know. So he's super smart, right? And he's super strong. So by the end of middle school, um, the teacher comes in. He's like, today, I want to know what you all want to do. He's like, you're gonna have to decide what you all want to do for your futures. And he's like, who am I kidding? I know all of you want to go to the hero course. Throws up the papers, you know. And so everybody starts using their quirk except for Katsuki and Izuku, because Katsuki has learned not to use his quirk in public because he doesn't have a fucking license, which is like one thing that I never like understood. Why the fuck would the school let him use his fucking quirk? He doesn't have a fucking license, and he's harming people. But never mind. He was basically a villain until he joined UA. Like, let's be honest, he was hurting people with his quirk. That's the definition of a fucking villain. But yeah, so terrorist goes up to Izuku, and he's like, "Sup, Izuku? How you doing?" Like, this is before class starts, and Izuku's like, "I'm cool, and you?" Because they always have these like weird, awkward interactions, you know. And Baku was like, I'm cool too," and just goes and sits on his desk, you know. And the whole time, Baku was not even paying attention to Izuku because he's like, Izuku's doing his own thing, I'm doing my own thing. And then the teacher's like, there's actually two people that are trying out for UA. And Baku's like, oh, two people. Like, who the hell thinks they're at my level, you know? And he doesn't do the whole speech about them being extras, but he's like, so who in this class thinks that they're at my level? And basically the teacher's like, Izuku Midoriya and Bakugo Katsuki. And people are like, Katsuki will definitely make it in. His quirk is super flashy and it's super strong. And then when it comes to Izuku, they're like, but Izuku would never make it in. Like, his quirk is so weak. He's basically just a normal human that has to work out to get a little bit stronger. And basically they're all laughing at Izuku, saying he could never like make it in. UA has a 2.5% acceptance rate, and basically they're all laughing at him. But Katsuki knows from his moms, he knows that Izuku's worked super hard for his power, and he would never let anybody disrespect Izuku. So he's like, hey, yo, shut the hell up, like let bro do what he does. You know, like if he thinks he has a fair shot at it, he probably does. Like leave him alone and mind your own fucking business. You know. and everybody just shuts up. And so at the end of class, like he goes up to Izuku, he's like, Izuku, are you really trying to go for Yue? And Deku's like, yeah, bro, like, why wouldn't I? And Baku was like, okay, I'm proud of you, my boy. And Izuku's like, all right, bro, thanks. And he's like, I'm proud of you too, because you know, he Deku never got like Izuku never got over that I'm better than you shit that Bakugo's always doing. But you know, he's always like friendly towards Bakugo, and Bakugo's always friendly towards him because you know they're still friends at heart. But like it's just a little bit. Always just been super awkward since that day that Izuku was like, I don't fuck with you no more, you know. And so basically they're like, uh, good looks and have and I wish you good luck for like the entrance exam and shit, right? And they go their separate ways. And Izuku's like, well, Katsuki has really like he's really become like a good person since his mom talked to him, you know? Because personally, I don't like making Bakugo like a good person, you know? Because Bakugo is a fucking dickhead. I hate him. Like, I really do. But, you know, in this one, he's just a chill person with a really inflated ego, you know? And so, Izuku's going home, which at this point, like, he's 14, right? So, like I said, he has enough power to knock down a building with one tap, you know? Like 70% All Might type shit. And so, 70% prime All Might, by the way. And so, you know, he's using he's going home, right? And the sludge villain comes around him, and the sludge villain's like wrapping around him and shit. And he just like he flexes all his muscles in his body like all at the same time, and basically his shirt bursts from him, and so does the sludge villain. The sludge villain just splatters all over the wall, but that wasn't enough. That wasn't like an All Might Detroit Smash punch, you know, like able to like knock the sludge villain incapacitated. So he Izuku thinks that that did the trick, and then the sludge villain comes like from behind him and just like envelops him in this like egg type thing, which from the outside it just looks like a lot of slime around this one object, and it's trying to get into Izuku's mouth and shit. Yeah, but Izuku has his mouth closed, and so he's trying to go through his nostrils, right? And just in time, All Might comes in, boom, just you know, does the Detroit smash, gets the sludge villain. Izuku isn't like the biggest All Might fan here, right? He's still a fanboy, right? But he's not like, oh my god, it's All Might, it's All Might, it's All Might, like it's fucking Michael Jackson or some shit, right? And he's like, oh shit, it's All Might. Like he he's not gonna fucking freak out, right? But he's still like happy as shit. Like he got to meet his idol. So he's like, oh shit, it's All Might. And All Might's like, I am here. And he's like, young man, are you okay? And Izuku's like, yeah, I thought I got rid of him, but you know, it is what it is. And he sees that Izuku's shirt is gone, and he's like, what happened to your shirt? And he's like, well, the sludge villain like ripped it, I guess, when he was attacking me. And he's like, and then All Might peeps the muscles, which Izuku doesn't look like this, right? He looks like Izuku fully looks like this, bruh. But like, just you know, a little. He looks like this basically. This my man's whole body looks like this. You know what I'm saying? Like he's fully a nigga. You know, like he's big body. You know, like All Might level. But he's only like only 6'8", which All Might is like 8 foot. You know, so he's still not as tall as All Might, but you know he's big, like big. You know what I'm saying? So basically, Izuku has this body, right? And All Might peeps, and he's like, "What the fuck?" He's like, because judging from the parts of the uniform that haven't blown off of Izuku, that are just hanging like by him, right? He's like, this nigga must be in like fucking middle school. Like, what the fuck type of build is this for a 14-year-old, you know? And All Might's like, young man, may I ask what your quirk is? And he's like, is your quirk a muscle augmentation quirk? And Izuku's like, you could say that. And All Might's like, what do you mean? And Izuku trusts All Might, you know, because he's the fucking symbol of peace. So he's like, well, my quirk is just the more I train, the stronger I get. And All Might's like, but that isn't that just a normal person though? And Izuku's like, I get that all the time, but no, my quirk is the more I train, the more power output I get, you know? And All Might's kind of thinking like it's kind of like one for all. And and All Might's like, do you have to activate it or something? And Izuku's like, no, it's on at all times. So I'm pretty much invulnerable and I have monstrous strength and speed. And All Might's like, wow, that is amazing. And he's like, and then Izuku is chatting to All Might, right? But All Might didn't spend all his time limit like in one moment like this time, right? So they're chopping it up, you know, like they're just talking like normal people, civilized, you know. And Izuku's like basically like yeah, I can like crush boulders with my bare hands and shit. And All Might's like, oh wow, that's like really impressive. And All Might's like, this might in his head he's like, this might be the perfect successor for One for All. And All Might's like, how about I train you? You know, like since you're he's like, are you applying to UA first of all? And Izuku's like, yes, obviously I want to be a hero. And All Might's like, oh shit, this is the perfect successor. And basically he's like, well, since you're applying to UA, do you mind if we train together? And Izuku looks at All Might and he's like, the nigga has big body because like Izuku looks like this, right? But All Might's still bulkier than him. Like the nigga is 8 foot tall, bro. Like let's be fucking honest, bro. Like All Might would demolish Izuku still. Like just because of experience and shit, right? Experience, power output. Because let's be honest, if All Might really tries, he can do a United States of Smash as strong as his prime. Like and Izuku wouldn't stand a chance, right? But he's looking at Izuku and he's like, perfect candidate. Trains his body so much that he's bulky as fuck. Like, look at the build of this nigga, right? And All Might's like, yeah, perfect successor. I'm taking him. Doesn't matter. I don't give a fuck. And Izuku's like, sure, sure, I would love that. Like he's freaking out at this point because he wouldn't freak out if it was just All Might. But All Might's offering to train him, the number one hero, you know. So he's like, hey, yo, like I would love to train with you. Thank you so much, sir. And All Might's like, okay, then meet me at Dagobah Beach at this time in the morning. And Izuku's used to this, and but All Might gave him like come at 8 o'clock or some shit like that. And Izuku's like, can we actually make that can we make that 7 o'clock because you know my schedule's pretty tight. Like after I work out with you, I still got to do my own workout, you know. And All Might's like, oh my god, how can this kid get any more perfect for One for All? And he's like, sure, sure. So come at 6 in the morning if that's not too early. And Izuku's like, no, that's actually perfect. That's when I wake up. And All Might's like, the work ethic, the muscles, the fucking politeness of this nigga is just perfect. He's like, he might actually be a better successor than I was. And basically, he's like, well, you have a good day, young man. He's like, so I will see you tomorrow. And grabs the sludge villain in the bottle and jumps away, you know? And Izuku's walking home, you know, but All Might didn't realize that his time limit. He still had 10 minutes left when he got to Izuku, right? So it didn't take that much fucking time to it didn't he didn't have like 30 seconds left like in the original, you know? He had like 10 minutes, but he doesn't realize he talked to young Izuku for fucking 9 minutes straight, you know? And 9 minutes means he only has 1 minute left. So he jumps off. He's trying to get to the other side of the city to get the sludge villain to the police, and he drops the fucking sludge villain. So he gets to the police station, right? And he's like, "Here's the sludge villain." Tries to go for his pocket, and they're like, "What is that?" Because he's just holding air, and he's like, "Oh shit, I must have dropped it." And basically, he's gonna go after the sludge villain, but then he feels the time limit kick in, and All Might's like, I'll go get the sludge villain. And he just jumps off. But, you know, the detective guy, he sees that All Might clearly was at his limit and he can't do shit, right? And Izuku starts hearing these big ass explosion noises, right? And they're even louder than in the original because Bakugo has done like iron bone training to develop his explosions to where it's like to where it's like if he makes a big enough explosion, he can obliterate a building, you know. So it's like big ass explosions, and the perimeter is even bigger than the last time, and it's even more chaos. All Might arrives there in Small Might form, and so does Izuku. Izuku arrives there, and All Might's like, "What is he doing here?" And Izuku sees Katsuki, but like I said, they're still friends. It's just an awkward type relationship, you know. And so he's like, "Fuck, Katsuki's caught up in that," and he's like, "How will I do this?" And he sees that all the heroes aren't helping. He's like, he gets pissed as fuck, you know, because his whole goal when becoming a hero is to help save as many people as he possibly can. And seeing people who swore to protect the masses be like cowering and not doing shit to help somebody, even though they swore to put their lives down for the public, it just pisses him off. So without even thinking, he like his legs like flex, and basically his shoes like just fucking his shoes just shatter, like they just fucking rip to pieces. And All Might sees that, right? Because he's flexing his legs so much, and then he boom just blitzes and punches as hard as he can. And the same shit happens where the weather changes. The weather changes, and he creates that big ass tornado, and the sludge villain is knocked out, And so Baku was like, "Thanks, bro." He's like, "Thanks, bro, but I really didn't need your help." And Izuku's like, "That's what you tell yourself." He's like, "If that helps you sleep at night, that's cool." And Baku was like really salty because he needed help from somebody, but he realized that in that situation, he couldn't have done shit because he was captured. But anyway, the heroes come and they scold the shit out of Izuku, and Izuku's just there listening to all this shit, and he waits until they finish. And he's like, "Alright, since you're done scolding me, let me scold you for a minute, bitch." He's like, "Fuck all of you fucking heroes." And he does the quotation marks. He's like, "Fuck you, heroes." Alright, nigga, you are a hero. Keeps putting like the emphasis. He's like, if you don't shut the fuck up, like I'm the only one who helped this man, bruh. Like, what the fuck were you doing when I was putting my life on the motherfucking line? I'm the public. That's not my job. You are a hero. That is your motherfucking job, right? And all the heroes are like, "What, kid? You can't talk to us like that, blah, blah, blah," and all this bullshit, right? And this whole time, All Might is like in the background, like, strong willed, big body, hard body, and that. And he's like, moved without thinking. Power to be comparable to me right now. Intelligence. He's like, and he doesn't take shit from anybody. Like, he's like, the qualities just keep stacking up, and I feel like he's the perfect successor. And so Izuku's walking home, right, with his shirt off and on his fucking bare feet, but he can't feel anything on his feet, because he's trained so much that he's pretty much become invulnerable to most attacks, right, especially physical attacks. So he's walking, and All Might comes out the corner. "I am here," and Izuku's like, "Oh shit, what the fuck?" And he's about to throw a punch, right, because like, let's just say from the neighborhood that he comes from, if you sneak up on a nigga, you getting like you getting fucking your shit wrecked. Like, it doesn't, like, there's no fucking explanation to that. You're just getting your shit wrecked if you surprise a nigga, right? So Izuku is like walking, right, and All Might just pops out of the corner, like I said, and he's like, "I am here." And Izuku just cocks back his hand, about to throw a punch. All Might's like, "Hold on, hold on, hold on." And Izuku's like, "Oh, All Might, it's just you." Shit. He's like, "You can't sneak up on a person like that." And All Might's like, "Okay, sorry, young Izuku." And he's like, "But I came here to ask you a question. Would you like to be my successor?" And Izuku's like, "What do you mean successor?" And he's like, he's like, "That's the main reason I was going to train you, because you are a candidate to be my successor." And Izuku's like, "Okay, I understand that, but you still haven't told me what you entail by successor, you know?" And basically All Might is like, "Well, I'm going to tell you something, and it is a secret. You have to swear not to tell anybody ever." And Izuku's like, "Okay, sure, shoot." Like, bruh, like, I don't. It's if it's none of my business, I won't tell shit. He's like, "It's not my business to tell, so why the fuck would I?" And All Might's like, okay then, I can pass down my power. And Izuku's like, what do you mean you can pass down your power? Because he's never heard of a quirk being passed down. And basically, All Might's like, I have a stockpile quirk, which can be passed down through consensual um, DNA ingestion. Like if I like by, it has to be passed down by my DNA. Like if I give you like a drop of blood consensually, giving you the quirk, like you will gain it. And Izuku's like, oh, okay. Then he's like, then when can I get this DNA? And All Might's like, when I deem you worthy, you shall have the power. And Izuku's like, okay then, I'll see you tomorrow. And All Might's like, yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. And he's like, you don't have anything extra to say to me? Like, you don't find this surprising that my quirk can be passed down? And Izuku's like, well, of course I do, but it is what it is. Like, I can't change that shit. And he's like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Shout at you? Like, bruh, like, it's just a fucking quirk, right? And almost like, kind of like, one for all is not just a fucking quirk, man. Like, put some respect on my name. And but he's like, okay, see you later, young Izuku, and just jumps off. And so Izuku gets home, talks to his mom. He's like, Mom, I met All Might today. And his mom's like, really? What did he say? And he's like, well, All Might offered to train me. And his mom is like, she's still fit. Like she's not. She didn't become chubby like in the original, right? So she's still fit as fuck. And basically she's a fitness guru, and she's the one that's been taking care of Izuku's training like for most of his life. And he's had such a tight schedule that he doesn't even have time to do extra curricular activities like go to the mall or some shit, right? So he's like, Mom, if I just wanted to ask permission to be able to train with All Might. And his mom's like, bro, have you seen All Might? Like, this nigga is the bulkiest man I have ever seen in my life. His workout schedule must be so tight. Like, he must have the strictest workout schedule ever. And if you're gonna ask me if you can train with this nigga. Like, he's probably better than me. And he's like, yeah, but I still need your consent, because you're still my mother. And she's like, and I appreciate that. But next time, don't say stupid shit that you already know the fucking answer to. And he's like, okay, ma. And just goes up to his room, right? And he's like, oh shit, that's really happening. Like, tomorrow I'm gonna train a fucking All Might. And so, he just fucking goes to sleep. And when he wakes up, alarm blaring, he wakes up and just puts on his clothes. He wakes up at like 5:30, puts on his clothes, stretches, and runs all the way to Dagobah Beach. And when he gets there, All Might's there waiting, and he's like, "Young Midoriya, you showed up." And he's like, "Obviously I did." And basically, Izuku's like, "So what did you want me to do, like for real? Cause like, um, my schedule is pretty tight, but my mom said I could have these 10 months off because I'm training with you. And so All Might's like, that's great, because first you're gonna have to clean this beach. Like you're gonna have to pick up all of the trash and put it in that park over there. And All Might still does the same thing where he crushes the what do you call it, refrigerator with one hand, and then throws it to wherever it was that they put the trash, right? And he's like, you have to clean this whole beach, and then I can pass my quirk on to you. And Izuku's like, is that it? A word? Like I'll do that. I'll do that in a jiff. And so he starts cleaning. And I'm not gonna say it took him like an hour, like some other people would say. Like it takes him like a good week to do it, because he's strong, but he doesn't overuse his strength unless it's in battle. He doesn't go 100% ever unless it's in battle, because he only uses like 30% to pick up shit and stuff. Like when he's training, he only uses 30%. That way, like he gets more strain on his body, and his body grows more. And so it takes him a whole week to do that, and by the end of the week, All Might's like, wow, it took you so little time to do that. And Izuku's like, really? I thought it took me a long. I thought it took me a long time. Like, if you had told me to speed it up, I would have. And All Might's like, what? You weren't using your full power? And Izuku's like, obviously not. Like, I can't use my full power, or else like workouts just become dull and shit for me, you know. And All Might's like, wow, like perfect successor. And so he gives him the hair. He's like, you have to eat this hair. And Izuku's already heard the thing about the DNA, and he's like, okay, and just like swallows that shit, and basically he's coughing, you know, because he just had to eat a fucking hair. But he's coughing and shit, and All Might just gives him a cup of water. He drinks it, you know, and his digestive system is a fucking monster, right? So it only takes him like, let's say, 30 minutes, 30 minutes for his for the hair to digest fully, and he gets the power. And All Might's like, let's just wait another 30 minutes just to be like safe, right? And Izuku's like, sure, but I'm telling you, I only needed 30. And so an hour goes by, and All Might's like, okay, now I want you to focus the what you call it, focus the power in one arm, clench your butt, tense your whole body, and throw up a punch, which is what he actually said in the original, you know. And he does that, and he throws a massive ass punch, right? And basically, he doesn't break his arm, but it shatters, you know, because the power is multiplied, you know, and he can only handle like right now he can only handle 100% of All Might. At he can handle 100% of All Might right now, like right now while he's injured, which 100% like full power All Might, like All Might against All for One type thing was like 80% of Prime All Might max, I think. So he can only handle 80% of the of Prime All Might, which I'm not gonna say that One for All doubles every single generation, because that would make no sense, because that would mean that 20% of Izuku would be like 40% of All Might at his prime, which would make no fucking sense, you know? Because that would mean 20% would already be able to like break buildings and shit, you know? And it can't. 20% can break walls, but it can't break fucking buildings, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, you know, All Might is like, good, young Midoriya. He's like, but his arm still gets shattered, and Izuku's like, wait, I can't feel my arm. My arm's feeling. He's like, I can't feel my arm right now, and All Might sees that his arm's all purple and black and shit, and All Might's like, oh shit, you must have used too much power. He's like, this is also something we have to control, the amount of power that you put out. And Izuku's like, oh shit, that's all you had to say, because you know he's been controlling the amount of power he's used for all of his life, because if he didn't, you know, like just like moving his finger would have like broken his table at school, which happened multiple times until he finally got it under control, you know. And he's like, that's all you had to say. And he's like, but what are we gonna do about this fucking arm though? And All Might's like, yeah, I have somebody that can help with that. And All Might takes him to Recovery Girl early, you know, so he meets Recovery Girl early. And Recovery Girl's like, what happened to your arm? Like, what the fuck happened to your arm? So it's like this shattered. And Izuku's like, well, you see, I threw a full powered punch with my quirk, and my body isn't fully suited to handle my quirk yet. And Recovery Girl is looking at his body, and she's like, I fucking doubt that, but okay. And Izuku, he's done training for his own quirk. He hasn't done training for One for All, right? So he still has to get used to the power. Like, he may look like this, right? But like at this point he can't get any bulkier, right? Like he can't get any more massive like All Might. He looks like a short All Might, you know what I'm saying? So basically all he can do now is work out to get his muscle density like just right. And I'm gonna say that 100% of his what you call it 100% of his one for all is 150% of All Might's, you know? So he only has so his one for all only has 50% more energy output than All Might's, you know? So Deku gets the kiss from Recovery Girl and he gets his arm healed, you know? But another a sub ability of his quirk is that he has a enhanced healing property, but not like Wolverine or some shit, you know. It's just like something that would take him like a month to heal can heal in 2 weeks, you know. So his recovery process is like double the normal human rate, which may seem like a lot, but it's actually not. It still takes him like 2 weeks to. So if he breaks a leg, which would take him like 6 months to heal, it only takes him 3 months type shit, you know? Which seems like a lot, but it's actually not because he still has to wait 3 months if he breaks something. But you know, Recovery Girl kisses him, and his arm recovers like super fucking fast, which is like comes to a surprise to her because you know it uses their own stamina to heal them. And Izuku has the most fucking stamina out of anybody in this motherfucking world, like more than All Might, you know, because his mom trained him until he was 10. You know, until he was 10, he was just a bulky ass nigga, you know. But he was slow as fuck and got like winded pretty fast. So his mom like made him do cardio for a whole year. Like he would still lift weights and do all this shit, right? But it was mainly cardio for a whole year. So he lost some of his muscle mass. But like in the 3 years until he became 14, he found a way to balance all of that out, you know? And so, you know, everything happens and for the rest of the 10 months, he's just training with All Might, combat training, you know? And sometimes people would come to the beach and see All Might there training with this young boy and they would ask All Might who is he training, and All Might would just say he's a candidate for UA, and he's a very strong individual, and I'm just helping him to control his power. And everybody just thought that All Might was doing like a good thing, you know, and he was because if he didn't, Izuku would literally like break his arm anytime he used 100%. But like I said, he could only use like what 80% of prime All Might. So he was like 100% of All Might, you know. 100% of injured All Might was him, you know. And so by the end of the training, he can use 90%. So he's like 10% stronger than All Might, you know, which may sound like a little, but it's so fucking much, you know. And All Might's like so fucking proud of Izuku because he has experienced gains in fucking speed as well, you know, because Izuku was really fucking strong, but he only had like half the speed of All Might, and now he has the same as All Might, you know. So he's basically just All Might copied and paste, but with like a rougher attitude and a more hood type attitude. You know, he's more of a like ratchet ass. No, sorry, he's a hood nigga. You know, he's a hood nigga with the heart of gold. You know, and so it comes a time for the for the UA entrance exam. And All Might will no longer be training Izuku because Izuku has gotten way too strong for All Might. So All Might, sorry, Izuku has gotten way too strong for All Might. So Izuku, instead of doing like a hundred push-ups or 1,000 push-ups, you know, he now does like exercises till failure. So he does push-ups until he can't do anymore, sit-ups until he can't do anymore, and squats until he can't do anymore, and like runs for as far as he can, you know, and back. He runs for as long as he can until his legs give out, rests for like 10 minutes, and then just runs all the way back to his house, you know. And basically, that's his fucking like plan now. Like, just do everything until failure. Like, because like just doing a routine workout doesn't work anymore, you know. So he has to do exercises until failure of his muscles, or else he won't experience any gain. And so he goes to the UA entrance exam, and throughout this whole time, All Might hasn't only been training his physical capabilities. All Might trained his physical capabilities. He also told him to get to like start studying because the UA entrance exam also has an intelligence an intelligence department, right? And this whole time, he asked his mom to like tutor him, because in this one, Inko's like really super smart, right? And in this one, Inko's like a scientist or some shit. So In- Inko's like Inko's like, okay, but why? And he's like, while All Might is training me physically, I still need to train my mind because I'm gonna take the UA entrance exam. He's like, hello, 2.5 in acceptance rate, and his mother is like, you right, you right. And so he gets tutored by his mother, right? So we get to the exam, they take the written exam, which Izuku's the first one to finish, and I'm not gonna say he finishes like 2 seconds or some shit. While everybody takes like an hour, right? He finishes it in 20 minutes, And Momo comes after him with 30 minutes, then Ida or whoever came after Momo. And Momo's really impressed that somebody got 20 minutes and like 10 minutes ahead of her. And she's like, wow, he must be really really smart, which he is. He gets the top grades. He gets 100% on the he gets 100% marks on the exam. While Momo got like, let's say, 95%, you know? And so he's sitting he's sitting down listening to President Mike, and this whole time, you know, he's dozing off, let's be honest. He's dozing off because President Mike just sounds really boring to him. And then Ida does the whole thing, stands up to President Mike. He's like, this can't be a mistake of UA. If it is, it's like so embarrassing that a school as prestigious as UA would make such a mistake. And then he looks back at Deku and he's like, and you stop dozing off. You should pay attention. If you came here just to doze off, then you shouldn't be here at all. You shouldn't become a hero. And Izuku's like, shut the fuck up. We all come here to become heroes, and we all have um, our own reasons for becoming heroes. And you can't dictate whether I can or cannot become a hero. And Ida just sits down and gets all salty and stuff. And so when it comes time for the practical exam, Izuku is just there stretching, right? And he has like this tank top on because any other clothes don't fit him. Like he has to get them tailored, just like All Might. So All Might like takes him to this really like fancy store where he gets all his clothes tailored, right? But it's not like only suits. Like he gets like normal clothes tailored to him as well. And so Izuku has like a tank top on and like some joggers, right? But the thing is, joggers are supposed to be baggy, but you can see his muscles through the joggers, right? And all the girls are staring and shit. And Ida is like, "Well, you put a shirt on, man. You are directing too much attention to your bulking muscles and shit." And Izuku's like, "Sounds like somebody's just salty." And Ida storms off, with this um, annoyed look in his face, because he can't understand why Izuku just doesn't care no matter what he does. And President Mike still says one, two, 3, 2, 1, go, go, go. What are you waiting for? Real heroes don't have a countdown. And Izuku's like, oh word, so that's how it is. And he like does the same thing he did with the sludge villain, flexes his feet. And when he flexes his feet, like his shoes just pop off, and Ida's like, "What the hell?" And Ida starts running, right? And then he looks back and just sees Izuku blitz, like he blitzes past Ida, like at his top speed, which like kind of like breaks the sound barrier. He looks exactly like All Might when he's fighting, right? Because he has that same smile on his face, because and it's not like the heroic smile that All Might has. It's just like an innocent smile, but it's like giant, so it makes him look exactly like All Might. And everybody's like, "Who's that? Is he All Might's son or something?" And basically, he starts just like punching every robot he comes in contact with, right? And he gets 200 points, like in a minute, you know. And throughout that whole time, he's just like chilling. He's just there chilling on top of a roof. Actually, let's say he didn't get 200 points. He got like 100. Let's say he got 136 points. And the whole time he's like, yeah, I got enough robots and enough points to pass. That's enough. I don't have to try and break All Might's record. And so he just stays on the roof and he's chilling, right? And then he hears the 0 pointer come up from the ground because he can hear like the mechanical work clinching together, and like all the rubble being tossed aside. He hears like all these people screaming and running away. Then he hears a scream of help, right? And instantly his hero's heart activates, right? And you just see this green look in his eyes, and he zoom, just breaks the sound barrier real quick, goes there and saves Uraraka, right? Gets her and like speed blitzes back to the entrance. And he's like, "You should be safe now. Now we'll take care of the 0 pointer." And he goes straight to the 0 pointer and one shots it in the head, taking the head clean off. And everybody in the monitor room, the teachers are like, "Who the hell is that kid?" And All Might's like, "He is Izuku Midoriya. I personally trained him." And everybody's like, "Makes sense, makes sense." And basically, that's where I'm gonna be ending off this video. Thank you for watching, my guys.